Hello, everyone. So, welcome back to this Monday, and so we're going to have a look at the week, really. And what a strange week we've got coming up. I'm going to do my best not to refer to it, and let's just all indulge ourselves for this moment in what we're going to talk about, which, strangely enough, is happiness. Which, do you not think that that's so apt for this week? I'd already planned that. Anyway, so I thought I'd share with you some, as you all know, I'm doing my master's in positive psychology, so we're going to be doing a lot more psychological, evaluations and looking at the research and what we know today, which, is actually really good because we can unpick some of this, the old ways of thinking about how we can achieve feeling more calm and, and getting what we want out of life as opposed to more of the same old dreary, drudgy stuff that we don't want. So this week we're looking at happiness, and I thought I'd tell you a little story about how this has been like an enigma for centuries now, and I found it quite amusing to think that even back, the Greek philosophers, and we're going back, I think around 345 BC, the Greek philosopher Epicurus, and he's actually formed a school to study, guess what? Happiness. Who would have known? And we're still talking about it today. We're still chasing happiness. And yet, thousands of years ago, they were still looking for the same thing and asking the same questions, which proves, actually, think we have to sort of like wonder about that, why. Anyway, so when you hear what I'm going to tell you, I think you'll realise that there's this saying, why invent the wheel? Why invent the wheel? So basically back then, so we're going back 345 BC, he decided he was going to study what makes you good. And so he thought, well, actually, I'm going to study happiness. Let's study happiness. And this is actually true. He set up a school of philosophers and they studied happiness. And what he found was that three things that he came to the conclusion was that one of the things is that everybody thinks we're happy when we're married or we're in relationships. And in fact, as he said, he was actually married to philosophy. And when he looked around at a lot of married couples and just people in relationships, he found that they were quite miserable, actually, which I actually do find quite amusing. They bickered a lot. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of rivalry and, and control issues going on. And so what he realised, one of the top three, is that he came up with, we're actually quite happy when we're around our friends and when we're around our friends. But what he realised was that people didn't spend a lot of time with their friends. So his top recommendation was that we should spend more time with our friends. The second recommendation that he uncovered, as it were, was that, we were always, people, even back then, it was all about accumulating wealth, big houses, big mansions, looking, beautiful scenery. And actually what he realised back then was that, and this is so true, is that it's not the wealth itself that makes you happy, it's what you do with it. And that actually your happiness comes from when you are actually sharing your wealth. So in proportion that you don't have to have a lot of wealth, but actually if you do a lot with that, as in the community, or make a difference, as it were, that brings you the most happiness. So, in fact, those that were, or even today, if you think about those that are really the top earners, they have to do a lot of hours. It's and the third one, which I'm going to leave you with, which again, this is just a great one, is, people, again, are always searching outside, to make them feel happy, to make them feel this, this state of joy, as it were. And what he came to the conclusion with is that basically it's inner reflection. When we look at our inner reflections, when we start to, count our blessings, as it were. So what a guy, know, all those hundreds of years ago, a couple of thousand years ago. And really, these are the scientific basis for a lot of what I'm studying today, is what he came up with. And the other great fact, actually, which I do like a bit of a fact, and I like to throw them in as a bonus to you this week, is that Karl Marx, that's right, because what he did, the philosopher in the end, actually set up a community, okay, and so lived with all his friends because he thought, well, so there was shared spaces, so a bit like the modern day, communes. And Karl Marx actually studied him as his thesis for his degree. And so when we think about Karl Marx and communism, his version was obviously, was rubbish and didn't work, but basically was based on Epidemus. And so, who would have known? Anyway, I'm going to leave you there, guys, and we'll touch base later in the week. Check in for Friday. I hope you've all, had good luck with making your intentions for the week. And speak soon. Take care. Bye.